friendly little proletariat uprising. America's first competition talk show. You're in the hub.
So, Ahmed, if you're a terrorist, I would suppose you have some sort of specialty.
Yes, I am a suicide bomber. Ah.
So you're finished.
What?
You've done your job.
No, I haven't.
But you're dead.
No, I'm not. I feel fine.
But you're all bone.
It's a flesh wound.
Silence! I kill you!
Seriously, we told him it was going to happen, right? We've been saying this for a long time. So here's the thing. The Al-Qaeda, I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but an Al-Qaeda operative had a misstep this week and blew himself to Kingdom Come, all the way up to his 72 virgins. Earlier this week, he was successful in reaching reaching this great spirit in the sky. And the funny thing is, I mean, reading this story reminded me of a MacGruber episode. I honestly could see. I think if we were to send Betty White in after watching Saturday Night Live a few weeks ago, she could distract long enough for this to happen more often. Betty White could very well be our secret weapon in the war on terror against Al-Qaeda. I'm just thinking out loud here, but that's something to think about. Now, we've got an interesting thing going on, though, in the digital universe. There's a digital holy war happening right now. And I got to let you know about this, because if Saladin and King Philip and King Richard had known about this in the Crusades, then they could have fought all of the Crusades with avatars and saved a lot of bloodshed in the process. Move it online. And apparently a couple of folks have moved the war over Islam online onto Facebook recently. There was a girl in Seattle by the name of Molly Norris that put together a Facebook page called the Everybody Draw Mohammed Day. And it was set for last week. It was set for May 20th, okay? So she starts the process by drawing a Mohammed domino, and Muhammad is pictured as a teacup. And I'm trying to think of Muhammad as standing next to the Mad Hatter, but can't visualize that either. But the thing is, they had about 300 different submissions on Facebook, pictorial submissions, before these things were all pulled, and Facebook took the page down out of fear of retaliation. We saw the same thing happen with Comedy Central a few weeks ago. And my first thing is it just that it's cartoons? I mean, if they were doing this with like a Rembrandt, if they were doing this with not impressionist art but more realist art, would this make as much of a difference? Is it just the shock, the degradation of envisioning Muhammad the way they're trying to envision him here, Gil? Or are they just that hot under the collar?
I think they're just that hot under the collar.
You really do?
Yeah, I just think there is the very thin skin when it comes to these kind of that kind of humor. We know it. It doesn't play. It's nature of the beast, I guess. But given what you see there, I think that's.
But it doesn't seem to play poorly in the U.S. I mean, quite frankly, I kind of see this as it's a clash of cultures. I mean, if you see a lot of reformed or a lot of modern day Muslims certainly practicing here in the U.S., westernized Muslims, so to speak, they have an entirely different view of the faith than Middle Eastern Muslims, traditional fundamentalist, if you want to call it that. There's a completely different vision here. And is this less about religion and more about a clash of cultures going on today, Bart?
I don't know if it's so deep as that. I mean, it's you think about it, it's on the internet. They've got to scream about something.
It can't be that deep. It's on the internet. Do you read blog comments? I mean, hell. Okay.
Anyway, it seems kind of foolish to me. I mean, the whole thing is just much ado about nothing. I mean, the thing on Facebook, the girl came up with her idea. Somebody came up with a counter idea. All right, so somebody's against Muhammad cartoons, and some people are for Muhammad cartoons. Let's see how many fans sign up. And the more popular one wins. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well, I mean, and you got to understand, in a postmodern world, intolerance just cannot be tolerated because it's not very progressive. And Michael, I got to ask this because she said that she was just trying to encourage open dialogue. Do you buy that, or was she just trying to be antagonistic?
I think she started out having a sincere need for the debate to happen. And I think as time went along, she felt a bit intimidated because of the response. Typically, when there is a perceived offense against Muslims and their faith, then the reaction is typically threat of violence, and that's unfortunate. And that, unfortunately, then leads the media and others to completely disregard the Second Amendment.
Well, and that's a good point.
Excuse me, not the Second Amendment. The First Amendment.
No, they definitely
The second one could come in as well.
They very well adhere to the Second
Excuse me,
Amendment in a
the
way
second-
you've never seen before, or would rather not. But I don't. Does that apply to knives, or is it just firearms? Gil, rage question rages on.
I would say that you've got a lot of folks in this country that are of the Muslim faith that don't like that humor. I know what you're saying, and I think that they are. They get very defensive about it, whereas you have Christian and other humor that doesn't create the hubbub. Why is that? Well, maybe some folks are sort of looking for an excuse to make a statement and complain about those sort of things because, for whatever reason, that's what they think they should do.
Because the Christian community learned their lessons during the Crusades. They came out of that very passé.
You would think both sides would, but not necessarily.
You would think so, but no. Well, I mean, the other guys won, so
Well,
they're still drunk on the wine of success. Bart.
I don't have much more to say on this topic. I mean, it goes back to you talk about the First Amendment and the intolerance and so forth. Trying to segue into the Rand Paul thing that happened last week, and just the fact that you can't even bring up a topic anymore as a topic, whether it's it's hard or not. I mean, you can't even bring it up anymore without facing the scorn of the media, the scorn of people that are intolerant. Like you said, Michael, it's just you can't even have an open discussion about these kind of things without facing this, and that's sad that we're getting to that stage.
Well, go ahead, Michael. To me, it's one of the biggest tragedies here is this Mimi Sweetpovar who created another site, another page. Everybody draw Mohammed, which is a cheap ripoff of the original, if you ask me. The biggest miss here is that they had 56,000 fans and likes on this thing, and they did not get product placement any damn where. That's the biggest loss here. If I'm going to generate 56,000 likes, I better have a monetary plan. We live in a capitalistic culture. There's no excuse for not monetizing this, Gil.
Here.
I mean, we live and die by this sort of thing. So.
Joel, you could start yours tomorrow.
I think we just have. We'll see you tomorrow on the Hub.